March is known for the end of winter and the arrival of springtime, a season of warmth and renewal. For history buffs, it's also known for the date Julius Caesar met his last. But don't let time pass you by like a bunch of old Romans. Hello again, SA here. And I'm just here to remind you to get your copy of my book series, Glitch. It's available on Barnes & Noble and other fine bookstores, as well as Amazon. The links are down below in the description. And while you're out enjoying the spring weather, you can also indulge in my story of a kidnapped teen model and a reluctant jewel thief who are on the run from the law. Yeah, you don't have to guess. I still have other books coming down the pike. So as long as I don't run into any difficulties. You'll be seeing those books too, I'm sure. Now let's get back to the video. Hello again, SA here. What is a squatter? Well, you would say someone who squats. Well, that's a nice little juvenile presumption, but in reality, it's someone who basically is like a usurper. Someone who basically takes something from somebody else and then claims it as their own. Indeed, back during the gold rush here in California, used to call them claim jumpers. People who would creep around the prospectors, or someone who they think is prospecting, and then when they think that person actually may have found a potential mineral strike, where it be gold or silver, they usually would get some disreputable type working along with them, some shyster lawyer, and then they'll write up some fake paperwork, and then when no one's looking, they will likely kill the actual prospector and then take the claim and say it was theirs. Indeed, anyone who watched that old TV HBO show Deadwood knows that a lot of that was going on. But of course, it doesn't mean that we had like a Sheriff Bullock to basically stop the claim jumpers. But of course, in the present day, there's another form of claim jumper. But these people tend to usurp people's houses and property. Now, of course, you would say, how can someone just walk into someone's property and then claim it's theirs? Quite easily, in fact. Because people tend to forget. In many states, they talk about possessions 9/10 of the law. And that's just not a euphemism. That actually means something. It means that basically if you're in possession of a piece of property, you're 9/10 of owning it. Doesn't mean you'll keep it, but at that moment, you definitely have more than your grubby fingers around it. So there you go. Indeed, here in my neighborhood, we had some squatters who taken over a piece of property here on the block I lived on. No joke. Because back when I was a kid, there used to be this house just down the street. Windows were boarded up. It was all dingy, had yellow paint, was all peeling and everything. But what no one didn't know was that people were living in that building. No joke. And you say, how's that possible? Well, that's just it. Nobody knew. In fact, we only found out when the property, which sat up empty for like a whole decade, it was finally sold by the county. And then, according to the neighbors, they said that when some real estate developer showed up and was inspecting it, he found people living inside the building. And nobody knew they were there. Indeed, Mr. Mingo, my next door neighbor, he told us, because, you know, he was basically the gossip in the neighborhood. He said that, yeah, he said he saw that guy. I think his name was Freddie. I don't know how he knew his name, but there you go. And he said that, yeah, he seen the guy wandering the neighborhood. You know, this was back in the 1980s. And he said he didn't know where the guy hung out at. But he said that, yeah, every once in a while he see the guy, you know, shuffling up and down the street. You know, the guy was homeless. But, so there you go. The guy had been sitting at that damn old raggedy-ass yellow house for all that time. And he wasn't alone either. There was another fella in there with him. But then after the real estate developer, you know, found him in there, well, they weren't there much longer. Nope. After that, they got run away from there, and the developer, he basically renovated the property and sold it. So there you go. Well, the funny thing is, the laws in California are not the same as the laws in New York. The laws there are much different. Now, I'm about to show you a video. In fact, the video actually came from WABC. And it was about an incident that happened in Flushing, Queens, where some woman inherited the property from her dead parents, only to discover that when she showed up to basically, you know, take possession of the property, there were some people living inside. Okay, now I'm going to show you the video right now because Tim mentioned it, but okay, are you ready? Here you go.
We have this story. A woman who shows up to find her house has been stolen from her, and the police say, so what? You're under arrest, ma'am. Let's talk about tactics and strategy.
You're trying to steal my house. Yes, you are.
How about that? A squatter standoff. A property owner confronts a group of people she says moved into her $1 million home in Queens, and our cameras were rolling as dozens of officers showed up.
Several people were taken away in handcuffs, and one of those arrested may surprise you.
Investigative reporter Dan
May
Kraus.
surprise you. It's so funny when someone who inherits a property their parents paid for has it stolen from them and they get arrested. But that's it right there. We are supposed to be the inheritors of this nation. Gen Z is supposed to be stepping up to the plate in the next few years to begin inheriting industry, entering their 30s. And what are they getting instead? Criminal aliens are being handed the reins. The inheritance is not going to the rightful heirs of this country. And this is, as I mentioned, the microcosm of the macro.
Joins us now with more on what happened. Tell us, Dan.
Well, this is a very big growing problem. I received dozens of tips from viewers about this in just the past week. I went to do what I thought was going to be a routine interview. Instead, we capture what police and property owners are dealing with on a daily basis.
I have video of you.
Who are these people?
Figure out the situation.
Yeah, but they're in my house, man.
Relax.
No.
To understand how this day ended,
We need the police right away.
with multiple 911 calls and arrests, we have to start at the beginning.
Adele, the hardest question is, how do you say your name?
We met Adele Andaloro outside the home her parents left her in Flushing, Queens. She's in the process of selling it,
No, he locked it.
but she's been locked out. She claims squatters moved in on February 6th and refused to leave.
What's it like being here knowing you can't go inside of your own home?
It's enraging. It really is.
In New York, squatters have rights after 30 days.
By the time that someone does their investigation and they do their work and their job, we'll be well over the 30 days, and this man will have stolen my home. And now she's back.
Just after wrapping up our interview, a woman showed up.
What are you doing in the house? Are you renting this house? Why are you here?
She unlocked the front door, saw our cameras, and took off.
It's open. Let's go in the house. It's open.
Adele and her daughter, with the property deed in hand, went inside.
This is my furniture. These are my curtains.
She didn't just find her belongings inside.
There's a man sleeping right there. Get out of my house.
She found two men.
How long have you lived here?
I moved in about 2 days ago.
They've called the police on me, and I've called the locksmiths. I didn't come in illegally. The door was open.
Police started interviewing.
I didn't come in illegally. The door was open. Lady, it's your house. What do you mean? It's not illegal even if you bash the door with a sledgehammer. It's your door. There's a lot to break down in this, but we'll let this play.
Viewing neighbors
you can
and
see the
looking for
rest.
documents.
Do you have something that shows that you've been here for more than 30 days?
They took the man who told me he had been renting for 2 days out in handcuffs.
They got
The police said to these men, do you have anything that shows you've been here longer than 30 days? Why are the police desperately trying to protect the squatters? Why are the police protecting the squatters? By all means, make the argument that the cops don't know what's going on. It could be a landlord-tenant dispute, and you can't just evict someone. That's their argument. Welcome to the brave new world. The liars win.
one out.
And escorted the other guy off the property.
Now you're afraid to come out.
I'm not coming out. This house is empty. This is my home. My locksmith is on the corner waiting to change my locks. And it's not fair. It's not fair that I, as the homeowner, should be having to go through this.
How you doing?
Minutes later, a locksmith showed up, but police gave her a warning before they left.
I may end up in handcuffs today if this man shows up here and says that I have illegally evicted him. I said to them, let him take me to court the way I've been told to take him to court.
Now think about that for a second. This guy's got no proof he lives there, and the police are saying, we'll arrest you if you stop him. If you want him to leave, go to court. Why should the landlord have to go to court, but the guy who stole the house doesn't?
But today, I'm not leaving my house.
Less than 10 minutes after police left and the locks were changed, the man who claims to be the one actually leasing the house shows up.
Call the police again.
With the other guy, police took off the property.
Do you see this? This guy just literally broke down my door, broke through myself and my daughter to get in here. This guy just forced himself into my house. Yes, he did. And so did you. You broke through the front door.
The man called the police on her.
So why is it that I have to leave and he doesn't have to leave?
Because technically he can't be kicked out. We need to go to court.
They consider this a landlord-tenant issue, and by law it has to be handled through the housing court, not with police.
If you own this house, you would not want her inside.
I don't own this.
Exactly,
Yes.
she does.
Yes, but then once again, you should know how the law works.
I do
And
know how it
there's-
works.
There's rules to the as you got to go to court and send me to civil court.
He says he signed a lease in October, but wouldn't tell us with who.
I got proof longer than that.
Show us the proof.
But who are you for me to show? I showed it to cops.
Dan with Channel 7 News. If you don't want to show it, you don't want to show
the
it.
proof. Come here, brother. I like that.
I would like to see it.
He didn't show me a lease.
This is a bill.
A bill for work he says he had done to the house. He didn't show police a lease either.
The police department doesn't have the lease?
No.
He's got no documentation.
Just bills.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
Being arrested
For what?
for being in my own home.
And where's your lease?
She's fighting the house. It's not her house anymore.
My deed
That's
is
what was
current
told
and
to her.
legal.
Arrested for unlawful eviction. She changed the locks on a man who claims he lives there.
So how does this all end then? When do you leave?
The way it ends is either she pays me my money that I put into the house, pay me the money, and I'll leave, or send me to court, and we deal with the judge in court.
So let's just break this down.
Okay, you saw that, right? Now, I don't know about other zip codes in other states, but I gotta tell you, someone obviously fell down on the job to have such a cockamamie law in New York. I mean, someone, you can just walk into your property, or a property that you technically own, because the woman had the deed. And then, because the way the laws are written, she has to go to the housing court, and the housing court could take up to 2 years to sort it out. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, seriously, are you fucking real? I mean, good grief, you probably have a better chance of processing a damn rape trial in New York before you can than getting your damn some knucklehead who basically is sleeping in your property. And then you have to ask yourself, well, how the hell does such a law get passed? I don't rightly know. But you would think that the people in the New York State, either they are not paying attention, or someone in the legislature pushed through this thing without much fanfare. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised that's what's going on here. That no, seriously, I don't think the people in New York State voted for that law. It must have been someone up in Albany who basically pushed through that law with probably no debate, and no one was paying attention, except maybe real estate developers and property owners, especially property owners in Flushing, Queens. And all I can say is that people in New York gotta get their shit sorted out. I mean, no joke. Because forget about if you were in the real estate business. Even if you're not in real estate, but you're just some regular homeowner. I mean, could you imagine that? I mean, forget about dying. I mean, just you like say, okay, I have a house in Queens or the Bronx or even in Brooklyn, and I decide I want to sell my property, and in the interval between you deciding to sell your property and the new people purchasing it and taking the deed, some clown can just roll off the street corner, walk into the building, and then declare the property's theirs, and then you have to sit around like a fool, twiddling your thumbs and toes for 2 solid years trying to get that clown out of there? I mean, what the holy fuck? I mean, seriously. Like I said, those people in New York, they gotta get their shit together. For real. Because I'm pretty certain that you don't have any kind of mess happening in the other 48 states. Because, like I said, what happened on our block back in the 80s, actually technically it was the early 90s, because they found Freddie in that old abandoned house in the early 90s when the property was finally sold. Because I remember correctly, property was originally abandoned, I think in the late 70s. Yeah, because I was a little kid at the time, but I remember hearing afterwards that, yeah, the people who originally owned the house, they couldn't pay the property taxes, so that the county seized it. And it sat there empty all the way up until like the beginning 1990s. I think it was, I can't remember, it was before or right after the 92 riots. And that damn guy Freddie was sitting there living in that place that whole time. I mean, unbelievable. Yeah, these people in New York, they really gotta get their shit together, because that kind of mess, it shouldn't be tolerated at all. I mean, no way, Jose. Well, okay, that's all I gotta say about, bullshit housing laws in New York State. And that's my opinion.